ticker that you own or that you would like to buy or that you are watching but not sure if you want to, if you own and want to sell or buy, or just whatever you're watching. So you can type it in the question channel. Oh, thank you, Mario. And you can, and we'll walk together. Whatever questions you have, we'll walk through it together. All right. So let's start. We'll give it a minute. I think it's 6:30, right? We'll give it a couple minutes for people to join in. We'll be doing the SPY and the Qs and IWM to begin with. Just kind of go over what happened today in the market. And then I have some people who messaged me what ticker they want to see. And then, if you didn't message me and you have questions, just feel free to put it up here, and we will walk together. Okay. All right, so let's start. Let me just take all these things off here. All right. So let's start with the S&P 500 SPY ETF. So what happened today? Well, we had a massive gap down overnight in the futures, with China regarding coming back on us with the tariffs and whatnot. And, we were down massively, 500 points on Dow, 40 some points on S&P, and 120, I remember, on NASDAQ. But when the market opened up, we had a nice pop. We just ran through the 200 SMA and just kept going. But what happened is we got stuck at the 13 SMA, right at the line, which was the 264.48. And I think that was the high was, I think, 264.35 or something. So once we break out of this 13 SMA, we can move higher. But so let's look at where can we go. The first thing that happened today is from this high, from March highs, we actually broke out from that downtrend. So that's one positive. So that week, actually, if you look here, we were struggling to break out of the downtrend from here. And every time we came up, we just pushed down. And finally today, we were able to break out of that downtrend. So that's one positive. Secondly, what levels do we have which are going to be resistance coming up? So let's see. We'll start with here. And let me actually kind of zoom out this thing a little so we can go back in time and see much more on the SPY. So I want to go back to this 248 level, which was back in, I think it was in September, a strong support resistance consolidating area before we actually moved up. So right now we are at this 264. And I think we are coming up to 267. That's where we're going to have issues again. I know earnings are coming up. So these levels are very much to be broken if our numbers are good. So 267 is what we are looking for, 267.30 to be precise. And then we have this 100 SMA at 268, and then 50 SMA at 271. So we got levels to watch here, but I think but we have this 265 on the way here as well, right here. We got a lot of small resistance in the way, which have been a little troubly in the past. So we got to keep an eye on these 265 and 267, 269, and then 270. So that's what I'm looking at SPY. I think from today's action, I would like to hope that we run for a couple of days. But again, in the past, as you can see, in last 1 week or so, a massive gap up, a massive gap down, a gap up and a gap down. But this is the first time I'm seeing two green candles. If you look back from this March highs, we haven't had two green candles back to back. This is a very positive sign. So let's hope that we actually make one more green candle to 267, and then maybe a little consolidation before moving back up. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Now, last night I posted this chart in the room, and you can see here 253 in the morning. It popped right from the 253. It came close to 200 SMA. I would say it tested it. I mean, it's not that, but it's not that far away, like 30-40 cents away. So I think that's a pretty good test over there. And we popped right to this 159.05 resistance. Perfect bounce. We're coming up to this 100 SMA at 161. I think once we can get off that, we have ways to go. NASDAQ was good today. The Qs were strong. Not as strong as the SPY, but definitely strong in comparing in the past. Again, same thing, excuse me. Same thing on the Qs. We haven't seen two green back-to-back candles since March 13th. So this is a very nice thing. We saw two green back-to-back candles. Let's hope that we continue up here. Now, yesterday I posted this chart also on IW, and I said test 153, and we actually were right at the 153, 152.60 we came up to today. So that's actually was a good call. I didn't play it, but I played SPY today. But yeah, so we tested at 200 SMA on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday we had a nice pop off it. So that's a good thing. Hopefully we break 153, and then we can go up here at this level right around this 155. By the way, small caps have been much stronger than the larger ones, so keep an eye. This can easily run to 155. So eyes on the IWM. Uh-oh. I think what happened. I'm sorry, guys. Do you guys see now? Yeah, I had the screenshot. All right, let's just kind of go back all over again, real quick. I'm sorry about that. So right here, as you can see, S&P, nice pop today, two back-to-back green candles, and a resistance at 265 coming up. 13 SMA actually held up today. So eyes on SPY, we can move up to 265 and 267. QQQ, a nice bounce off the 153, which was also somewhere around that 200 SMA, and a nice pop from here. I would say keep an eye on Qs. We can go up to 100 SMA and then to 162. But again, like I said, back-to-back green candles, very bullish. And IWM, I actually had mentioned this in the room yesterday. 153 was the resistance I was looking at, and we got stuck at 152.64. Been stronger than the larger caps, so eyes on IWM. It's been holding the 200 SMA pretty strongly. But again, we're in the market where we have one green day and a massive red day, one green day and a massive red day. Now we have two green back to back. Again, I'm bullish on IWM. Now let's move on to the stocks. I don't know who asked me to do Facebook. I'm doing Facebook here just because it actually had a massive move after hours today. But also what we're looking at on Facebook is, let's go back to this June, July, August consolidation here. Massive consolidation between the 140, 455 and then 145. Massive consolidation. Now we're back in that same area. But now we just have much more volatility. Like we are going up like $8-9 a day on Facebook just because it's just way oversold. This is a perfect place for people to scalp if you are good at it. So just amazing, amazing play right here. So if we can get out of this, which actually we already did, I think right now Facebook is at 159, so it's moving up nicely after hours. But even if it wasn't moving after hour, let's just assume that it's closed at 155 today. Let's just assume that and forget about the after hour action. We are right at that support at the resistance of 156. You can see over here in the past and right here. Now we are at 160 in the after hours. Right here. So we also have some resistance at 160 in the past over here. You can see after this pullback that it had, 160 had actually been holding up. So you got to keep an eye on the 160 level. If we can break out of 160, we got some, it can really go. It has some gap filling to do. It's very oversold. If you ask me on the, if I show you the RSI, you can see here it's way oversold. RSI of almost 24, 25. Today it hit 30. MACD is looking to curl up. But yeah, RSI, look, I mean, these green arrows are showing you that it's been way oversold for quite some time since that drop happened. So I am looking at here, if it breaks 160, I would definitely look for an entry at the break of 160. I know Tim gave me a couple tickers, so I'm gonna do these, and then I'll look at the questions, and then we'll go with your question on the ticker from the questions. So LRCX, I know he actually is in I think in LRCX right now, so he asked me to do it. So let's see, made all-time highs back in March. Now a nice pullback. They have earnings coming up on 4/17. So what happened? We actually on 190, 189, 90 area on LRCX, a strong support, a strong support. As you can see right here, back in, let's say, November to January, December, January, 190 was holding up pretty hard on it. Like it could not break it. 190 touch, pullback. Once it broke here, it came back down to test it and then just ripped. And then obviously when we had the February pullback, it came down. And again, the 190 over here kind of actually held it up before it ripped higher. Now again 190. So 190 is a good spot on this stock that you want to keep an eye on. If you again have a pullback, keep an eye on 190. If it holds up, that's where you want to enter. Now where can it go from here? Right, this thing moves, right? This thing moves pretty strong. I would say let's like in this area over here, which is the 206 level. So that's where I would say is my first resistance line, and then the second would be around this 220. And then obviously we have the 234 all-time highs, which will also be a resistance over here. So 194 an entry, and then I would say the 206, a break of 206 to 220, you can play the stock. This can move 10, 12 bucks a day. It's an easy play once, but again, it's a very big spread on options here, so you gotta be careful how you're playing it. But 260 break, 206 can break and put it to 220 level. So that's LRCX. He said AMAT. So let's look at AMAT first, and then we'll look at other ones. So AMAT. What I see on AMAT. All right. AMAT is also, it's the same. If you look at AMAT and LRCX, they have pretty much the same chart pattern. You can see the same thing over here on AMAT, a consolidation in this area. What you saw on LRCX. Between this on the LRCX, you saw 190 level. The same thing you see here around this 53, 54 level. And right now we are at that same level right here, right? 52, 53. So it's a perfect, they actually go hand in hand together pretty much for the most part. So nice 52 resistance over here, could not break it, testing, and once it breaks out, again, comes and tests it, breaks through. Then we have a pullback in February, and then breaks right through it after that. Actually, the earnings of AMAT and the pullback in February came at around the same time. So it was a good actually play to get in at this dip. That's what I did. I played this couple times on this all the way to the 62 run every single day. It was a perfect play. So now what we see on AMAT is if we can, again, if LRCX is going to go, AMAT is going to go. So if LRCX earnings are on 417, if they report well, eyes on AMAT. It's just a lot cheaper stock, so the spreads are much more easier to play. I like to see the 56 level. That's where I see a lot of kind of consolidation resistance level here. You can see right in this area. And then once we break through it, then we got this 59 level. And then again, like I said, obviously we have the all-time highs. So AMAT, if you're not in, wait for the 56 break, and then you can play to 59. So don't jump in yet. Either you wait for a pullback here, or you wait for the break of 56. And he asked me to do square. Okay. Square. Now, so some stocks I can't do Fibonacci. It's just because they at the end it just doesn't make sense sometimes. But in this square, Fibonacci does work very well. The bounce for Fibonacci's. But let's just look without the Fibonacci's first, and I'll show you how it matches right on top. So if the square has a massive pullback, 58 to all the way to 48. It really is not. Today was the only green candle that actually had a massive, even though it was only up 9 cents, but it actually went from 45 to 48. So nice run today if you were able to get in at the 45. So we have a nice support at 45. Why do I say that? Let's see. Lights right here, 45-ish, 45-ish. So previous resistance, right? Could not break it, had a pullback, tried again, consolidated, and then massive run. Always look for something that is, when it hits the resistance, look for that consolidation or little pullback. And if you see the pullback, always then you can make that entry. Don't just jump in right over here, because over here, if you jump in here, you have a massive pullback. So wait for the pullback to happen at least once, and then you can buy it here for the run up again, or you can wait for this breakout to happen and then just jump in here on this massive candle. So where does square goes from here? Let's look at Fibonacci's. So we start from all the way from top, 58.46. We come down to this level because this is my near-term support. This is where we actually had that pullback in February. Now, just like this, I did not draw the 38.2 fib line, right? But look at how it actually overlaps. It actually overlaps with my 45.05 line, and the 45.02 was the Fibonacci. A perfect match, exactly where I was looking for that entry, and it just bounced off right from that line. 45.05 was my support, was my line to enter, and 45.02 was Fibonacci's. Perfect, and it got stuck at 47.60. We closed at 47.67. Perfect resistance. Now, if it breaks through tomorrow, we can go to 50, and then we can move actually higher. So eyes on square actually over here. I strongly recommend to keep the stock on your watch for at least for next week or so if it makes that run to $50. So this is a perfect example where you don't even need a Fibonacci, but it confirms your entry and your exits. So a perfect example right there. There's two more, Intel and Microsoft, that I was told to look at, and then I'll take your ticker on the question box over here. I already see that a couple that people have requested, so we'll do that. So let's see. Microsoft, again, same thing, right? What happened? Massive gap. This run over here from the 86 close to 94 was the 6 or 8% run on Microsoft ever I think like since the market bubble, tech bubble since 2000. This was a massive run, and then gave everything back. So where are we looking at Microsoft support line, right? So around 87.35, and as you can see over here, a nice consolidation, U-shape breakout, testing it for a few days, and then moving up, coming back at that around the same, not really that much low. If you look, I mean, if you tell me this is not really that much of a difference, yeah, it had a candle down here, 84, 83, but still at that 87 region, like kind of consolidating in a U-shape, and then made a new all-time highs up here, came back again to 87.35, run, came back, and then pop. Now, where does it go from here? I like to see again, like if I was trading this, I would have sold it today at 92.71, just because it has some trouble over here in the past, right here, and then you can see over here as well. So it has some trouble in this 93 area. Even over here, if you look, this is not really a run, because obviously it had a massive pullback, and then even on Wednesday, I think this was last Wednesday, a 92.71 held up. So if I was trading this is a perfect channel for anyone to trade. Now, if I want to buy it, I buy it tomorrow when it breaks this level. Break of 93, and we can go 95, which is right around this, right over here. So a perfect run. So Either you buy, if you bought it here, you can sell half and then sell half at 96, or you can buy at 92 level on this break tomorrow or whenever it breaks out and play it to 96, and then wait for the breakout of the all-time highs and then play from there. Remember one thing, that 52 break a 52-week high is always a strong buy signal. So if Microsoft breaks this 97.24, you want to buy if it breaks that. That's where you should be buying, because once that 52-week high is broken, you go long on it, and vice versa. If the 52-week is broken, you go short on it. That's what charts 101 is basically. You buy at the break of the highs, and you buy at the break, and you go short at the break of the lows. That's the basic concept of charts. What else do I have? So we're done with Square. All right, so we have Amazon. Okay, let's look at Amazon. So what do we got on Amazon? All right. So we had a nice support at 1351. Now, when we look back here, we have a strong support at 1351. You can see here, not as quiet, but again, Amazon has been on a rampage, so you really would not see much support and resistance on the way, because it just kept going and higher and higher. So so that's what happens. So when the stock just moves that much faster, it just comes down as fast because it doesn't really have that much support on the way down, because it just went up so fast higher. So Microsoft actually came down. Amazon. I'm sorry, down 200 points from the highs in less than few weeks. So right here, 1351 holding strong support. Now this is just the charts, okay? Hoping that the market behaves properly tomorrow and day after, and we can make that move. This is not. I'm not saying okay, market's going to crash, but Amazon will rip. No, Amazon. These charts can get messed up tomorrow morning when we wake up. We don't know. This is just from what happened today and what can happen tomorrow if the markets are green. If the market is red, I want to show you what happens to Amazon tomorrow. So let's just look at it. Right here is the 1351, 3035. Amazon, it's pretty big, so you have to give yourself that $10, $15 range on Amazon. And right here is also that strong support at 1351. Again, now on this pullback, 1351. Nicely holding it. My guess is here, if the market supports and is a green, we're gonna make this nice U shape and probably fill this gap up soon. So right here is your next resistance, 1454. We are at 1410, so that's like $44 away. That's like probably a day or two move on Amazon. So 1444. But if you want to look at in between the 1444, in between this range of $100, right here is your another resistance, right, which was today, 1413. You can see here it held up back in February, and then also in last 3 days, 1413 has held to it. Even today, 1413 could not break it. So keep an eye on it. If this breaks through, then you have 1454, and then you have this gap fill to 1481. So this could be a nice U shape on Amazon. Any other questions? I know, yes, CRM. I was told to look at CRM. Okay, yes. So there's that. I wanted to remove this picture because actually I want to leave this picture. This is what I have drawn before when I was looking for an entry. When I'm a Tech Money, I was playing it, so I was just looking at it, what he was looking at it, and so I drew these lines because I wanted to look for an entry. I missed it. He nailed it, but look at this on CRM. This is not Fibonacci. I know he uses Fibonacci's, and if I draw them, it's going to overlap just perfect, I'm pretty sure. So we'll even draw that too, just because I want to see where he got the entry from. Yeah, Matt W, man, if Trump tweets, these charts are useless, I'm telling you. So these, these charts are just hoping that the market is going to behave just the way it should behave. Nothing that I'm saying is gonna, this is just what with the market, nothing else. Trump tweets, China news, and these charts are going to be just all down over here. So CRM has had a resistance back at 114 here and a resistance at 114 here. Even after the pullback, it had that 114 resistance. Went to make new all-time highs on the earnings, after the earnings, and came back down here again on 114. You can see how it's been holding up here at 114.35, and today a massive pop. And then you have the support at 109. So I was actually hoping when I was drawing these lines, actually I was expecting this to come to 109 and look for that entry. But again, you know, massive pop today, almost $3, actually 114 to 119, actually $5. It was obviously down in pre-market. So yeah, so a massive pop today. If I look at the Fibonacci on here, 128.87, and I come down to this level, which I like to see is around this level, or even I can go to this level, yep, right here. Now you can see, yeah, it's not that big of a difference, right, between mine and Tech Money's entries. I have mine at 114.35. Fibonacci shows 115.42. If I remove this line, my lines, and we can see that right here, if you look, you had that buy signal. You could have entered at this candle too, which was 112. So either you are entered on this green candle on last Wednesday at 112. So you would have entered today at 114, which I think was a good entry spot, or either at 112, which was also a good entry buy signal from the Fibonacci's on last Wednesday, because it didn't really pull that much back down, unlike other stocks. So yeah, so 112 or 114 were a perfect entry, and I feel like this can go to 123, but it has a little resistance on the way here. Let's see, 120. If that breaks out or around 120, 123 is possible. Walmart. All right, so Walmart, what are we doing here? So Walmart actually, I think it broke that 200, right? Yeah, Walmart broke that 200 SMA, which is around 88.22. Right now it's at 13, which is 87.30. So just let's leave those lines up there, because that's what I want to look at here at the same time. So Walmart came to 85 level. My concern with Walmart is that it needs to get over this line, 88. Yes, it's been with the market not doing really well in the last couple of days. It's been struggling, I understand, but it really needs to. If you bought today, my concern is that it got stuck at that 13 SMA today. That's my concern. And then it's going to have the strong resistance at 200 SMA as well. It really needs to break out of the 200 SMA for me to even look at it as a buy. For me to buy Walmart, it has to actually get over 90. That's where I will look to get it. That's because right here, 89, 86, 90, yeah. Right here, I feel like is a consolidation support thing. And then even over here, after that drop from the ER, it really could not get back over 90. It struggled quite a bit, and it went sideways over the 200 SMA and just could not break it. Not even a single pop over 90. And that's where my concern comes into Walmart. So I really need to want this over 90 for me to even look at it and put it on my watch list. Home Depot. All right, this is a perfect too, actually. Let's remove the Fibonacci's for a second, because we don't need that here. What happened, Home Depot? Again, great stock down from 207 all the way down to what? Hit 170. A perfect bounce today from the 200 SMA. Held on to it on Monday. popped yesterday a little bit higher, and then wow, so this actually broke out today, in my opinion. Actually went from 170 to 177. Right, popped from 200 SMA, broke the 13 SMA. So that's actually a massive, buy alert on Home Depot. Now, where do we go from here on? I actually like the stock. I actually played this quite a bit. So even if this 200 breaks, I mean, we have a support at 168, but I think we are kind of safe in the 177 region. This is way oversold as well. Look at that. The RSI are in like 40s. That's way oversold right now. It really needs to get going. Much better company, much better stock. Doesn't deserve to be down at 170s. So where does it go from here? We got some resistance at 178. So right now we are on that level of 170, and we can see right over here, right? Massive consolidation, but like again, market condition kind of put it back. So a lot of resistance at 178. If we break 178, I'd like to see this around this 184 area. Oops, right here, 186 actually. So yeah, and then we also have the small one at around 183. So yeah, I mean, I like this 178 break, and we can go 183, 186. That's actually a nice play on Home Depot. Holding 200 SMA is a very strong signal, and also a massive bounce from it. So that's a very good thing. I'm actually looking forward to getting into it. WDC. Let me actually remove these studies. They don't really work on this thing. So what do we have in WDC? Now, let me just, okay, let's go 3-year chart on it. So we have been on this channel from, you can see from July channel between 77 and 90, right? Nice channel. We break out in this year in March. We played this stock back and forth in this channel all the way. Every time it hit this 77 under around $80, I was on it. So just look at that. So one thing is confirmed, that we have a massive support at 77, a massive support, and we have a massive resistance at 90, which was, as you can see, which was a resistance. Once it broke out, it went to make an all-time highs at 106. Yeah. And yes, of course, we kind of broke that channel. I was hoping to hold on to, but the good thing is that every time we broke it, we closed above it. So we are testing this 90 level pretty strongly right now, because we haven't tested. Once it broke out, it never came down. That's the thing, right? So you wanted to test. You wanted to come back and test this 90, because they have earnings coming up at 427 estimated, not confirmed. So this can easily go back to this 106 and probably higher, because over here, when it broke out from like 3.2 from 86 to 316, rallied like crazy, a crazy rally over here from 86 to 106, $20 run in in a week or 10 days. So a perfect rally, a pullback, and then probably consolidation over here. And I feel this is going to get going back to all-time highs. EL, let's look at, I don't know what that EL is. Never looked into the stock. Oh, Estee Lauder, okay. Right now at all-time highs. Okay, I see what you mean. All right, so let's look at Estee Lauder. Where do we go from here, right? Good question. So in this case, what do you do? I mean, if you're not really sure where the stock's going to go from here, one thing that happens is that once the stock makes all-time highs, it really doesn't have any strong resistance, except it has the whole number. So like 152, 152.50s. Today you can see it hit that 150, 150, right? 150, 143. That's your resistance. Then every 50, 60, 50 cents or a buck becomes your resistance. But if I had to draw this thing, I might just do a channel, right? Because look at this perfect channeling up. So I would just do this channel on this thing, and see where it's going to go. This is a perfect channel. You have to be creative, right? You can't always look for trend lines when there's no trend lines, because in this case you don't have any trend lines. Yeah, I know that it has a strong support at 131. How do I know that? Right here, I can tell you that strong support at 131, and might even have support at 142. But how do I know how high it goes? I don't know that. So in this case, what we can do is that we can expect this to trade in this channel. Right now, it's been actually trading in the mid channel. So what I mean mid channel is right here, right? Let's see. So it's in the mid channel. If it breaks out here in this channel, it can go up over here. If it doesn't break out, it can come down here. So you got to trade it accordingly now. You got to know, in this case, there's no specific number. But if it breaks out here, then this channel becomes a pattern, and then either you can go long at this break of this channel and go higher, or you can go short if it doesn't break this channel and then play it down on this coming down channel. So let's put it the channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. So you break at the channel 2, you go long, or if it doesn't break down, you can play it down to channel 3. That's actually a perfect example of how you got to look at your stocks, your charts differently, because obviously there is not much there to look at, except a nice channel trading, but you have to be creative to figure out to look at your chart patterns. We did Amazon, we did Walmart, Estee Lauder, WDC. Anything else? Do we have anything else? McDonald's. Okay. Another favorite stock. Been actually doing much better than the whole market is lately. Made all-time highs back in January. Earnings came up, had them pull back. I think there was some downgrade back over here. I think we bought some calls at this point, and we played for a couple of days. I sold a little too early on it, but yeah, but it filled the gap. Filled the gap, came down. So let's see where does McDonald's go from here. So 150, 146 area actually held up. So it actually did over here in the past in June, and now it did again over here. Perfect, right? And now we also actually held 155. Over here, the 155 was a strong resistance consolidation before it actually made that move to the all-time highs. You can see how this 155, 160 was a massive consolidation for almost a couple months before actually it made that move from here on to the all-time highs. So again, we are in the same region, same price area. So 161, see, right from here, and we are again this 161 level, and we closed at that 161.73, 161.86. So perfect close, perfect resistance at it. Now, if it breaks from here, we can either go up here to this level, 160. There is not much in McDonald's. This can run for a couple of days easily. But in between, if you want to you're looking to if you bought it here and you want to really sell it, I would suggest you can lock in some profit on this 165, as this it's not it's not a very strong resistance, but it is because yeah, it's just a small resistance on the way, right? Everything, the level I'm showing you, 168 is a strong resistance, but 165 is a small, not a heavy resistance. You can easily just walk through it, if anything. So keep an eye on 165 and 168. But first of all, gotta keep an eye on this 161. If this doesn't break tomorrow, it can easily pull back to this 155 level. It can, So I think it's gonna go. I think they have earnings coming up at April 30th. So yeah, we are right now at April 3rd, April 4th. I think it's going to start making at least the run to the earnings. What are the numbers are, that's regardless, I think we run into the earnings. DBZ, yes, this class is recorded. Am I not doing BABA? All right, let's look at that BABA. So, and there's NTNX. Okay, I like this stock. Good variety of stocks. I had no idea there was Estee Lauder stock, so I'm glad. I mean, that actually looks a very good good stock, a good chart on Estee Lauder too. So I'm gonna get to keep an eye on that one. But let's look at BABA. I'm gonna actually put my studies back in because I want to show something. So last night I said BABA got to hold this 174, which was also the 200 SMA. It broke right through it yesterday and closed above it. And obviously we had news after news overnight, which caused this massive gap down. Now we are under 200 SMA. We have not been under 200 SMA on BABA since 2016. Actually, yeah, December of 2016. So it's almost been almost 2 years now. We have not tested. So because if you look from here after that, we have been just constantly at that 13 and 50 SMA. So this is actually a good thing in my opinion. But at the same time, I'm not right now in. And 164 holds a very strong support on BABA. You can see right here, a very strong support. There's also a gap to fill over here, right? The 160. That's my concern. One more news from China, and this is gonna go down to the 160 and fill this gap, which is also a very good thing. Gap fillings for stocks are perfect. You want that gap to be filled. That way you can make that move higher without worrying about any gap fills. So that's my concern on BABA. But I'm not in BABA. I played it today. I scalped. But that was it. But if I have to go long, I need this 175 break. I need this to break the 200 SMA and close above it for me to even think about going long. Because just 2 weeks back it was at 200. Just 2 weeks back, and right now it's down $30. If you look at Apple, it's been holding very strong in this market. Yes, other stocks have been struggling, but BABA has just been struggling constantly. And for me, that's the concern. So it has to get over 175 or 200 SMA for me to at least open a long position. I would scalp it up and down every day, regardless. But to open like if the earnings are what 517, if I want to buy for earnings, I need that 175 break, and that's what I will go long at. NTNX. All right. I'm going to leave this study on here just because NTNX, a massive run, right? A massive run from, let's say, $29, $30 to 55. I played it in the back in July, August over here. You can see my lines from there. Never took it off apparently, and I lost money on that. So I don't really like to look at stuff like this, but we'll look at it. So NTNX made all-time highs, right? Now, what are we doing here? MACD about to curl up. It was way overbought here, right? You can see this over 75, 80 RSI. You can see all this red arrow showing you that you are way overbought. By the way, these studies are my personal. I would be putting them tonight in the TOS script channel on Discord. So make sure you grab these. This volume study is in 10-day average volume study. So that's what that's what it is, and this is the basic MACD, and then this is the enhanced RSI. It pops this arrow showing you that when the stock is way oversold, and you can see it was way oversold in this time, and then it just popped, and then when you saw these overbought things from here, the first candle of overbought, and then it just made that massive run to 55. So I'm going to put these things in the Discord TOS script channel tonight. Just remind me if I forget. And you can see the MACD is about to curl up, which is perfect. Now, there is not much here to see except the only thing is the 13 SMA. It got a hold. It's been struggling after once it broke here, it's unable to get past it. Even today, it tried to get past the 5043, 5074, could not do it, right? So after this run, I like to see a little bit of pullback at least. Um, let's see, let me just actually do a little 184-hour channel and take the studies off so we can see the support on the way. At least to this 45 area over here, at least till this region. I want to see a pullback because that's what we had it over here. Even actually, even you look at the February 9, it didn't really have that much of a gap down, and it made a nice U pattern here. I like it. I think 44 is what I see. I think it needs to pull, and even if it breaks 44, it comes down to 38. But after this massive run, I mean, even pulling back that much is not a bad thing in my opinion. I doubt we come down to 38, even if I think it only does if the numbers are bad. But if you look at it, the 38 is a strong resist, nice, made a nice U shape from here, right? Where 38 is, there it is. So you can see this nice U shape. Did it actually make what's the highs on NTNX? I think this is where it started from. So look at this nice pattern, broke it. I think actually it even filled this gap from here. If you look, it actually filled this gap from here as well. So maybe I think if we just keep an eye on this, I like it. It's holding the support at 47 also. So let's hope that actually pops over the 13 SMA, which is the 5074. Keep an eye on that. And this MACD is curling up, so that's also a bullish sign. How did you pin drawing tools to your charts? Okay, Matt, that's just, I'm just going to show right here. You go to this chart settings, and then you're going to see this My Tools, right? Usually it will be off. You're going to do on each chart, and then just on each chart, apply and OK. And then what will happen is that this will be unpinned, and you can always go on, and then you'll see these things. You can go to settings, and you can only add, I think, 6 things. So you can add whatever you like, right? You can add a drawing tool, you can add a study set, or a style, like, what kind of appearance of the charts you like. So you can add whatever you like, and then you just do done, and then you just pin it. That way it just stays there. If you unpin it, then it just goes away, I think. So yeah, so just pin it, and then it will just show on every single chart, right? It just shows on every single chart that you do, which is perfect. So keep, yeah, that's how you do that. All right, Red Hat. Also been strong after the earnings. It's been really strong, right? The earnings were, I think, last week. It held, earnings was here, had a pullback after the earnings. Numbers were good, I think, and right here, been holding the 100 SMA. All-time highs, nice 100 SMA pullback, and now back over 13 SMA. If I was drawing anything on this, if my Fibonacci on this was right from this level when I was looking at it, and they were down to this level. All right, let me actually remove this study so we can see it properly. That's how actually I had drawn my Fibonacci's before way before I was looking at the stuff. And we know we have a support at this level as well, which is 143.90, because you can see right from here we've been holding it from the bounce. So if I was looking at this at 136, you can see how it came to 120, and then it just had a massive run after the February 9th pullback. And we actually went to this 161 Fibonacci, right? That's where I get a little iffy. Once we get to the 161 Fibonacci's, it needs to have a pullback. That's why it did. It came back down and it tested the 144 support line, and now it popped. Now let's draw the new Fibonacci's, right? Because it made a new all-time high. So you gotta go back to this level. But now instead of having this support over here, my support is around this 120, because that's where the near-term resistance is, or support is, around this area. That's where I look at it. And you can see it, how beautifully it actually popped today, and it's been holding it. So like I said, my line was 144, and you can see that 143, 182 now being on Fibonacci. That's what I said earlier, right? Because that's where I was seeing this 144. So nice. When I change the Fibonacci to with the new all-time highs, you can see how it actually came down to that 61.8%, holding it for last few days now, and a nice pop today. So we go 157 and then highs here, and this time probably go to the all-time high. Probably make all-time highs. 180 on deck on Red Hat before, I would say, this number before the next earnings, possibly sooner, but definitely 180 on deck here if this 144 holds for sure. So I like this actually. I'm surprised how it actually popped right in that same channel at the 140, 144. But I won 150, 167 break, and this is gonna go to 180. So if you want to let's say if you want to buy this, right? You probably would scalp it either from 150 to 157 or to 167. So give yourself some time. I would say go out in March and buy some 160, 155, 157, whatever the strikes you see. But try to buy in the 150s for either May or June. Just try to be near the money and go further out just in this market. But I like this. I'm surprised how they actually sat right on that Fibonacci. How often do I draw Fibonacci, and what causes you to redraw them? So how often do I draw them? How often do I redraw them? I redraw them only once I see the pullback from the highs, right? So let's see if I go back to the old Fibonacci that I had on the Red Hat. Oh, that's a good question. So I had it from here all the way down to here. That's where I had it initially. Just to make it a little bigger. So this is where I had it. And my line I showed earlier was at that 144, 143. Yeah, that's perfect actually, right there. So yeah, so this is what I had earlier. Now, once the stock made that all-time highs, I don't know. There's no way it's going to go to 203, right? I can't just say, oh, look at that massive run. It's going to go to 203. That's not. It might happen sometime down the road in next year or so, or next 8-9 months or so, but not happening anytime in 2 or 3 month span. So so you got to redraw them to see what is your near-term resistance levels coming up. That's when you got to redraw them. But if you just kept going and going, I would not redraw them. I want to see a pullback from the highs so that I can redraw them. So now we made an all-time high, we pulled back, right? This is when I would redraw them. So now I know that this is the all-time highs, and this is the near-term. Oops, no, that's the wrong. And this is the new support over here on the 120s. So that's what, and now I know it can at least go to 180. I know that. I mean, that's much more reasonable for Red Hat, because it went from this 120 to 160 in a month span. 150, 167 to 180 is possible, and also in next 2 or 3 months. So these Fibonacci's are just these Fibonacci's are actually good for if you want to do a swing trade, right? If they actually help you a lot with the swing trading. You'll be easily able to plan a trade out. But you have to make sure you have a tight stops at the same time, because if it breaks the 143 and 137, there's not much here until either 129 and 120. So you have to have a tight stop on these, but these are Fibonacci's really help you with the nice swing plays. On semiconductor. Let's so I'm doing this chart right with you guys, right? So I have to think before I even think before I have to see myself what I'm seeing before I can say I tell you guys. So let's see what I'm seeing here. On has a nice support at this 22 level, and now you guys should be able to see yourself why I say that, because we have over here had some resistance consolidation for a few days, pulled back, and now we also again came back to this 22. Even if you tell me over here around 21, 22, it had some resistance to get past this. It's been also on a nice uptrend, but I think, so if you can look at this, it's been a nice uptrend over here, right? On a daily chart. Nothing crazy, but nice uptrend. Bounced today from the support and the uptrend line. So double confirmation. It's been holding that line. Let's say if I draw fibs on it, I haven't drawn fibs on it. So let's just now this is the all-time highs. My support is right around this 18 area, right? That's where I see a strong support. And you can see today it bounced again. You can see that 22, like I said, that was my support, my support line, and it just bounced from here today to the 61.8, broke right through it. So if you can break this, and in between you see this small resistance at the 61.8, so around this 25, right? 24.25, 24.54. Let's put it out right there. Right here. So if it breaks here, we go to 25.3, and then we go to 27.13. But yeah, you gotta keep an eye on this. I like it. Most of the stocks today, if you look and go back and look, most of them would have bounced from the 50 or 61.8 fib lines. You have to understand that trading is computers, algos, and Fibonacci's are used mostly heavy by computers. So you gotta keep an eye on these. The 61.8 and 50 fib line are very, very strong support where you'll see most of the bounce from. There's no more questions, but I think I see. But I want to go over Apple real quick because I was talking about Apple from last few days in the room as well. So I want to really talk about Apple real quick. And this is what I posted yesterday and day before. Holding support strong here, which is the 164 level. Probably the safest tech in the opinion right now in the market. Right now, it was the best tech to play in this market. Not even play, but just even if you're holding it, you wouldn't sell it because it was just holding that 164 level perfectly. If I put this study in of 200 SMA, we can see this also. That last time we broke in February 9, we broke this 200 SMA and we bounced super hard. This time we came close to it. We didn't really test it, but we came close to it, and we are right now about to if we actually break this level right here, which is the 172, we will be above all the moving averages, which will be a bullish sign for Apple. So yesterday was a nice hammer, and look at this massive candle, basically from 164 to 172 today. A massive, massive run on Apple. MACD is curling up. If you want to go long on Apple, let me actually remove the studies real quick because I want to show you the charts. And remove this too. So we're right now at this level, 172, right? And you can see the 172 level is a strong, in the past has held up Apple in the past. You can see over here, just up and down here, just small candles, up and down, 172 here, just couldn't break it. But every time it has broken 172, it has went to 180s, right? Broke it here, went to 177. Broke it here, went to 180s. Broke it here, went to 183. Every time it broke that 172 level, it actually has went and made a new all-time highs. Just by looking at this last 4 or 5 month pattern. So what do you think? If it actually breaks the 175 this time or 172 this time, it can possibly go and make a new all-time highs. That's just what you would assume. Not in a day or two, but that possibly would mean that 172 right now is broken for good, and we are on a verge of going and making at least that 185. We have earnings coming on 5/1, so we got time, and I do believe that Apple's going to announce some buyback next quarter. They're going to announce, good probably numbers. I don't know about that, but probably going to have buybacks and probably let this stock go to at least to 180, 190, 185, 190 in a few months. So I would suggest to keep Apple on strong watch because you can see how even we were down, on Monday, so 700 points on Dow, 650 points. Look how Apple was just holding up from 168 to 164 in this $4. Usually Apple were down like $8-9 when the market is down that big, because it was down $8-9 back over here when the Dow was down 800-900 points. So you can just see how strong it was holding in this last couple of days. So eyes on Apple. If the market gets stronger, Apple's going to run, guaranteed. That I can tell you, because it's just people are waiting to get back in Apple. So a strong watch on Apple. That's my stock to watch for this week and next week. Everything else, I think I think it was a very good session, this class, because it made me look at some stuff that I don't like, EL and NTNX and even Home Depot I had taken from my watch list, so I will put it back on my list. Really good, stocks tickers that you guys brought up. If anybody has more questions, you can ask me now, or just message me in the chat room. We also this class is recorded, so if you were not able to watch it or you missed something, you can always go back and watch it. And I think, personally, I actually enjoyed this class because I was able to do stuff on the spot and that made me like wow, there is takers that like not being prepared prior to the class, which is a little easier. So actually, Square and Apple, my two stocks that I'm watching from tomorrow. So eyes on these two, and thank you for joining in this class, and that's about it. Have a great night, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Vishal. I'll go ahead and end the thing.
All right.
And then I'll send you a DM. That was awesome. That was really, really, really awesome. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you, thank you.
Yep. So, yeah, just let me know, and then once the video is up, then I will just put them on the YouTube channel then.
Okay, cool. I'll
All
DM
right.
you in Discord here in a second.
No worries. All right.
All right, cool. All right, bye.
Thank you. Yep, bye.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.